All right, everybody. I hope my mic's plugged in. It is. Okay, so we're doing things right this time. Doing something a little different on the channel today. Just wanted to check in and kind of do a live stream over here. I stream a lot on my main channel, of course, but I haven't really done one over on the comic chat. And I'm just going to talk comics for a little bit. So we'll do that. Let's see if I can adjust the description to get some algorithm. Discussing Marvel Epic Collections. So Epic Collection, Marvel Epic Collection, near mint condition. Marvel podcast. Let's try this stuff. What else should I put in here? Marvel Omnibus, Omnibus collectors, gem mint collectibles. Let's see. I'm doing my algorithm sort of tags. Marvel collected editions, Marvel trade paperbacks, Marvel comics news. Let's try that. Okay. So let's have that in the description now. See if that gets some random people tuning in here to the channel. Hey, everybody. If you are watching right now, good to see you. I'm going to pull up the Marvel Epic stuff in a second. I got my I got to order in from In Stock Trades today. I got this one, which is the Sandman Mystery Theater Compendium. And this is like their, I think, third attempt to reprint these. This comes from, I think, the early 90s, late 80s. And it's supposed to be pretty good. I was told by a friend, I had to get this. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm also completing my Phantom comics with the DC Comics Years Volume 3 from Hermes Press. As the Phantom's license. I have all the comics. I don't have any of the strips. I don't like reading comic strips all that much. So I don't know what it is about that. And I got Wally Wood's Eerie Tales of Crime and Horror in also. So those rolled in today. Pretty good stuff. We'll see what happens here. All right, I'll get into the news of the Epic collections because I don't know how long I'll stay live with this. But here we are. This is being announced by the Epic Marvel Podcast. Blade Volume 2. So they're starting Blade Epic Collections now. I think they're doing a Blade movie or something like that. So it's coming out. And so they're doing Tomb of Dracula 1991, 1 through 4, which is like the second printing of Tomb of Dracula. Hey, Velnut, how you doing? Now, I don't know where Queenie's at. Good to see you. Got Night Stalkers 1 through 6, which is a miniseries which I don't believe has been reprinted anywhere before. Ghost Rider 31 and Midnight Suns Unlimited, number 1. So this looks pretty light for an Epic collection, but the Tomb of Dracula issues are, I think, 76-page issues each or something like that. They're huge. So they're not standard comic size. So, but this takes care of Blade's, I guess, appearances inside here. Volume 2, Volume 1 would actually, of course, be from the classic appearances. And there's not a lot of Blade material. I mean, this is going up through 1992. Really underutilized character in Marvel, which is weird because you would have thought something would have happened with a movie in the 90s there. All right. Neat stuff. A new line here. Next one, we got the Incredible Hulk Volume 9. There's some of the lines I actually read as they come out. This is one of them. Hit the like and subscribe button too if you're new here. All right. This is I've been keeping up on the Hulk. I've got a spreadsheet of all my Epic collections. This is what I do. I'll show you my spreadsheet real quick. You'll like my spreadsheet maybe. So here it is. My spreadsheet is right here. And let's see if we can zoom in. You can see that I tally the number of volumes that are out per deal. Yeah, poor Machine Man. I know. We'll get back to that in a second. I tally it here. I've got here's all the volumes. Here's the ones that are I don't have are marked in pink. And they're pre-orders because they're not out yet. That's why I don't have them. And here's the ones I read also. So I've actually read 119 of the Epic collections so far out of the 305. So about a third. Not too bad. They're kind of fast. Hey, Anonymity T2. Good to see you. And the only one I don't have that's out is Carnage Born in Blood. And the reason I don't have it is because They've reprinted Maximum Carnage 3 times. 3 times in Epic Collections. They've got one in Amazing Spider-Man. You can see right here, Maximum Carnage. They've got one in the Venom Epic Collections, and they've got one here in they made a Carnage Epic Collection. I thought that was just too much for me. Yeah, Epic is my format of choice, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show you right now. The reason it's my format of choice, maybe I don't, is thus. The omnibuses here are they're too big. They're unwieldy. You really can't open them very well and read them very. I haven't even read this one, but I'm going to. It's tough. They're heavy, so they're hard to hold up if you're reading, and that's tough. So Epic Collections have a lot. They're better than regular trade paperbacks because, like, they've got a huge amount of content, but you can hold them nicely with like no real problem. I guess my other preferred format is actually the oversized hardcover format, because you get the oversized art like the omnibus, but you get about 10 issues, so you can hold it a little better. They are still a little heavy even compared to the Epic Collection. Like, this is a heavier book than this, and this has a lot more issues. So that's my thoughts on that right there. So here's my spreadsheet, and the Hulk, which was announced yesterday, so is one of the lines. Like I said, I just read kind of as they come out. So you look at these. I've not gone into the Peter David stuff yet. I've done the Peter David stuff up until the epics come out, which is when, they had a couple omnibuses that came up to this point. So I read those, and I meant to just like plow through, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But the old ones I read as they come out, and so I like keeping up on those. I keep up on old Thor. I keep up on old Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Hulk are the 4 I kind of keep up. They're in color, 100%. They used to do these. They were called the Essentials, Marvel Essentials, but and those ones were in black and white. But these ones are in color, which is great. So they're actually pretty inexpensive for what they are. I love them. For those, if you don't know what an Epic Collection is, basically Marvel's reprinting all their stuff. Thank you, Tacitus Jones. Marvel's reprinting all their stuff up until about Onslaught. It's kind of, they're kind of varying when they begin and end as the lines. And it's from like the 60s through then. And just reprinting every issue for all their main lines. And so it's all the good stuff. Like, you could just read Epic Collections and never care about any of the modern stuff again. Except for recently they announced they're doing modern Epic Collections, which I haven't gotten those yet. I haven't decided whether I'm going to or not. I don't really like the modern Marvel comics. And actually, because they're running out of these old ones now, they are now getting into like having to, I guess, continue the brand by doing modern ones. But this is volume 9 for the Hulk, and it is Hulk 227 through 244, annual 7 through 9, and a couple of crossovers in there. So pretty cool stuff for the Hulk right there. Very excited for that. I think it's Sal Buscema. Yeah, Sal Buscema and Roger Stern. This is going to be good stuff right here. Excited to read that. So Epic Collection, Volume 6, She-Hulk, Volume 6, To Die and Live in LA. Oh, the other brilliant thing that Marvel does with this is they don't release them in order. So whereas like the Essentials they did, but they'll do random things. Like with She-Hulk, for example, they came out with, where is it? She-Hulk. They came out with Breaking the Fourth Wall, Volume 3 first. And what they skipped was, where's my She-Hulk? Do I have it? I don't know. I've got Sensational She-Hulk Omnibus somewhere. Or not Sensational, Savage She-Hulk was the first they did. So those will be volumes 1 and 2. But they came out with volume 3, which is John Byrne's work first. And then they're going to come out with 4, which is actually the middle, like where John Byrne quit before he came back for a little bit. Then they're skipping the next one where he quit and actually going to finish off the John Byrne stuff next with number 6. So it's like you just get these, and when somebody buys one, they read stuff, and it's kind of brilliant. So if you bought this one, you're Iron Man, and it doesn't say the number on front of it, just the crossing. You read the crossing, you're like, oh, I like Iron Man. Then you look on the back, oh, it's volume 21. I better go back and get the rest of Iron Man. It's kind of cool. And they usually do complete runs in these so that you can get some good information on the characters. So here it is, Sensational She-Hulk 51 through 60, which is kind of the end of the burn. And Doc Samson 1 through 4, which is, I believe, has never been reprinted also. So that's a Doc Samson miniseries. Some Incredible Hulk crossovers, and then some other stuff thrown in there also. Very cool. Now, this is a modern era one, like I talked about before. Hey, Aloise, how you doing? What's going on? And this modern one is the J. Michael Straczynski run on Thor. So with Thor, they'd been not running Thor for a bit, and then they brought it back with J. Michael Straczynski, and then they renumbered it, of course, with an all new number 1. How exciting! And here it is. This is basically his run. That it's been available in Omnibus, it's been out of print, but like they're doing this as a modern era epic. So now I got to figure out, like, do I want to switch over the omnibuses that I have that are more modern like this to an epic or not? I already have the omnibus, but I like having these because they all kind of have matching spines. I have a picture of my shelf. I can also show you guys, so you can kind of see the matching spines and how cool they look when they're all together. And here it is. So they all look like this together on a shelf. So the modern epics will kind of have this look also, which is kind of cool. I mean, if all of my Marvel stuff looked exactly like this, it's kind of neat. But I've got a bunch of omnibuses, and I got to determine whether I want to replace those with these. Like I said, I think they're a little easier to read generally than omnibuses, which is cool. But I mean, this one was a pretty short run, so the omnibus isn't that big. I don't know. But it bothers me that they're doing modern era epics a little bit because it's just such a like I don't know. I liked having a stopping point, and now unfortunately they're getting close to the end of these. So new epic collection, Hawkeye Modern Era Volume 1. Now there was a Hawkeye. There was a Hawkeye. Trade paperback which already had these contents, and that's the other thing they're doing with a lot of these. So Marvel used to have the complete collections where they would have random like thick trades of whatever. There was a Hawkeye, and I forget the name of the trade that this was in, but it's exactly the same contents. They just completely rebranded it. And I don't know why they're doing so much Hawkeye stuff. So you're going to find that there's a couple Hawkeye announcements here. I don't know what's up with that, but there wasn't a lot of Hawkeye historically. And with these, it looks like they're doing this. So New Avengers Reunion, Hawkeye and Mockingbird, Widowmaker, Hawkeye Blind Spot, Hawkeye and Mockingbird Sketchbook, and some crossovers here. So interesting thought on that level. Another modern era thing that they're doing, that they're starting off with, is Jason Aaron's Star Wars. So this is at modern era. So this is Disney Star Wars. So as you know, like Dark Horse used to have all the Star Wars properties, and they ran them in tandem with the extended universe sort of deal. And once they lost the license, Disney relaunched Star Wars, completely invalidated those, called them Legends, and did their own thing. And they hired Jason Aaron, who does a lot of stuff in here. Now, I've actually read the Vader Down crossover of this, which was with the Darth Vader. They have a separate Darth Vader title. Actually pretty good. I've not read the rest of it, though. I don't really like Jason Aaron generally, but I don't have this material. So I don't know. If you're a big Star Wars fan, this is kind of interesting on this level. I haven't heard of them doing a bad job or anything with the Star Wars line in general. I've heard it's been pretty decent overall. So unlike the movies. So this is something interesting to look at. I don't know if I'm going to pick this up. I'm not sure yet. All right. Then we get back to Defenders Epic Collection Volume 2. Exciting. So Defenders, they came out with one a year for a bit, and then they stopped coming out with it. And they started with Volume 6. And then they ended it with Volume 9, which is the end of the series. So this is, now they had Volume 1 last year, and this is Volume 2 this year. I am actually, so I did have omnibuses of some of this stuff. I am selling this omnibus. If anybody wants the Defenders omnibus, I don't need it anymore because I'm getting these. So let me know. I'd be happy to sell that to you. But I'll be picking this up because I'm just switching all my old stuff over to Epic. All right, here it is. New Mutants Epic Collection Volume 4 Falling Angels. Now this completes all of the New Mutants. So they have every Epic Collection out for the New Mutants once this comes out in June next year. And that way you can read it from issue 1 all the way until they cancel it and change it to X-Force. And they've got a couple X-Force ones, so you can continue it from there if you want to. That's pretty cool because, of course, the end of this run gets really interesting. And that's where a lot of cool characters get developed and things like that. New Mutants was a cool concept to start. It's iffy in the middle here, but neat stuff. All right, here we are again, back to Hawkeye. Like I said, there's got to be something going on. I don't know if they're going to do another Disney Plus series with this or what, but there's a lot of Hawkeye material. So Epic Collection Volume 4. This will mark the I guess third, I believe, Hawkeye Epic Collection. They have 1 and 2, and this continues like his miniseries. It goes, and this is where it gets interesting. It goes all the way up to 2003. And up until now, like Epic Collections before have really changed to a different spot where they kind of ended around Onslaught, which is like 1994. So it's very odd that Hawkeye Epic Collections here are going up to this era. And obviously they started the modern one with something that came directly after this. So this will be the end of the Hawkeye line. They will still have Volume 3 to come out with, which will contain solo Avengers stories. If you remember the Marvel solo Avengers 90s stuff. So this is kind of cool. I like this stuff. Interesting. And I'd be interested in reading it. Okay, we have Thor Epic Collection Volume 24, The Lost Gods. Now, this is pretty interesting. So when Heroes Reborn happened, which was a Marvel event right after Onslaught, and Heroes Reborn happened, like Thor was canceled, and Fantastic Four was canceled, and Avengers was canceled, Captain America was canceled, and they were in like these Image guys were making their reimagined versions of their origins and stuff like that. They continued the Thor title though, and they retitled it back to Journey into Mystery, which is what it used to be before it became Thor. And Thor literally is just not in the book. It's just other characters continuing on the book. So it's interesting that they are doing this in the Epic Collections. This marks the very end of Thor until they reboot it again later with Dan Jurgens. But that's interesting that they got this in here. I like this, and I hope that this means they're going to continue and maybe make a Thunderstrike Epic Collection, because Tom DeFalco did a beautiful job with Thunderstrike, which kind of continues on from the Thor series also. Cool. Here we are back to Modern Era Epic Collections. Get a little Bendis, my friends. This is the second volume of this, and they actually have already announced the first one. So you'll be able to get into his new Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection. These are complete rebrands of the complete collections that they used to have. They used to have New Avengers Complete Collections by Brian Michael Bendis. So it's just reskinned. But they've been out of print for some time. They're getting kind of hard to find. I had these in issues back in the day. I actually didn't hate Bendis at this point. I kind of enjoyed this stuff. And then I kind of fell out of love with Bendis's storytelling at some point. Yeah, I wish this had House of M or Civil War. I don't know what they're going to do with that. That's a great question. I mean, are they just going to release them as themselves, or are they going to call them Epic Collection Civil War? I can see them doing that too, to rebrand all that, which is going to get annoying for collections, because I might have to like swap some of those over just so they match the spines. Pisses me off. Yeah, this is when Bendis was all right. It is lazy to reskin these, but it is what it is. I might get this because I don't have a collected edition of this anymore. And then here we are, Hulk Modern Era Epic Collection. Who is the Red Hulk? And I believe this is Jeff Loeb's stuff with McGinnis. And this stuff, as I recall, it's been a long time, but it was a very fast read, very entertaining read. I don't know if it's like my favorite, but it was definitely fast paced and interesting. Now, there's one of those, I do have the omnibus of that, so I don't know that I'm going to upgrade to this and like redo this. And I don't know. It's a struggle for me for when they do these with matching spines, and I don't want to wait too long, because if you wait too long, then the books go out of print. It gets hard to find and all that. Yeah, I this is the first time I've ever gone live on this channel doing this, so it's interesting stuff here. This is an interesting one too. Star Wars Epics Collections, the original years, droids and Ewoks. They had different droids and Ewoks series in the 80s, and they have an omnibus of this already. This is just them reskinning that, and they're just calling it the original years, but they're not. What's interesting is all the Star Wars volumes so far in the Epic Collections have a number for us. They have the original years 1 through 7. They didn't call this the original years 8. They called it droids and Ewoks as a separate thing without a numbering. Kind of odd. But I'll be picking this up because I love the old material like this stuff. Pretty cool. Hey, it's really kiddie stuff, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Avengers Epic Collection, Volume 11, The Evil Reborn. They're just continuing along, catching up on the Avengers, getting close to this. This one covers Avengers 200, which is a very interesting storyline right there. And eventually I'm going to go through and read the entire Avengers run there. I haven't gotten to it yet. Cool stuff. All the old ones, I'm getting already. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 10, Big Apple Battleground. Now, I'm pissed about this because if you go to my spreadsheet here and look at Amazing Spider-Man, the reason I'm pissed about this, my friends, it's not the contents of it or whatever. I mean, they'll come out with this eventually, but there's this unbroken run here of like 15 to 27. So you could read all this Amazing Spider-Man in a row, except you'll notice there's something missing. Volume 16. So this Ghost of the Past is really a good spot to start. It is. And then it would have been great to have a volume 16 right there. I want them to come out with that. I don't want them coming out with this. Like, this is already reprinted in omnibus format. So like you can read all this already. This is what's not been reprinted and we're just waiting on. So that bums me out that we did not get a volume 16 announced. That seems to be the most wanted volume of Amazing Spider-Man at this point. But it's going to take a decade for them to print volume 16. Yeah. I'm throwing a fit about it. I mean, I every time I look, I'm like looking for a volume 16. They come out with 2 Spider-Man omnibuses a year, usually a more modernish one, and then one kind of in order going from the beginning. And so we've already got the Clone Saga and Spider-Man Spider-Clone coming out this year. So they have not announced the more modernish one this year for 2024 yet. So maybe 16 will be in it, but I'm going to guess they're going to go with like volume 28 or something stupid. Yeah, it's missing the wedding era. Yeah. They really hate Mary Jane. I mean, I'm going to make a video about how like Marvel editorial hates Mary Jane. I don't understand why. At some point, I will do that. All right. Iron Man Modern Era Epic Collection Most Wanted. So this is, hold on. 2008. Was this Extremis? Was this Extremis? Or was this... let's see. Crushing Crisis. Iron Man. Let's look at this. This is a good website for I'll show you guys for information on just like reading orders of all these characters. Because it gets confusing. She's a redhead, that's why they hate. And so they had, let's see, 2008 is here. So we have Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. 2009. Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. is right here, 15 to 32. Where's 2008? Iron Man 2008. I'm very confused right now. Iron Man to Invincible Iron Man 2008, number 1. Where is this? So I see, here's this. Volume 4, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's 2009, 2007, it says. So does this cover the same material? Or is it this? Is this what they're talking about? Extremis? Might be. Invincible Iron Man. Looks like that's what it covers. And I think here it is, Volume 2, Execute Program. Is this 2008? I think these have not really been reprinted. 2007. I don't know what 2008 would be. Maybe they just mislabeled it. So it looks like they mislabeled that. I think it covers Extremis and it goes up to the Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. era. If that's what would make sense for me. So that'd be cool to have in this kind of format. So I'm probably going to pick this up, even though it's a modern one. I don't think I've read a lot of the stuff out of the Extremis storyline. I've read the Extremis storyline several times, but not the ones afterwards. So that's Crushing Crisis. If you guys want to check out that reading order stuff, it's actually pretty useful right here. Boom. Near Secret Invasion. Yeah. So I reference this whenever I'm going through and trying to find like a bunch of stuff to try to figure out. Okay, next up, Generation X Epic Collection Volume 4, Pride and Penance. Generation X has gotten bad by this point. I think Volume 3 is the last of the decent Generation X, and then it's just bad. But they're gonna do the whole thing. It looks like this is Larry Hama's take on the character, and the writers already left on the last one. And so it takes a completely different tone at this point, and the series just goes way off the rails. I'm going to pick it up, but I'm not excited about it. All right. And I think that's all of it. Did I miss any? Hopefully they posted all of them. Did I miss any here? Because I know he did a couple. Let's see. He did them backwards. I did them backwards, rather. Lost Gods, Star Wars. These guys were talking about all this stuff. Avengers. I don't know. I think that's all the announcements that came out for Epic Collections right now. So pretty cool. And enjoyable stuff. I don't know. I'm not super thrilled with a lot of this stuff. I'm really excited to read the Spider-Man Volume 10 and probably this Hulk Volume 9 and maybe the Blade stuff. But beyond that, like I think it's okay. But I don't really see any like bombshell awesome stuff. I'm like, yes, I want to read this the day it comes out, which is kind of sad given this list. Oh yeah, I remember I got a bootleg copy of that Gen X TV movie when I was like a kid, and I watched it. I was like, what the hell happened here? Oh man, yeah. As far as Epic Collections go, I mean, this is one that just came out. It's The Crossing. It's a Avengers crossover storyline, which people didn't like in general, and here it is. It's got all this Iron Man stuff. I might start reading this because I know this is going to be fast to read, but it was not a popular run. But the reason this is interesting, this just came out, is check this. Several years ago, they came out with ForceWorks, and I had ForceWorks as a kid. This was like a rebranding of Avengers West Coast, basically. And I had the first one. It had this cool cover. As a kid, it was like a pop-up cover, as I recall. Here's the ash can. Of course, they did ash cans. They were doing that for everything back then. But here it is. Yeah, full wraparound, like pop-up cover. I loved this cover when I was a kid a lot. Very, very Liefeld-y. Who did the art on this? I don't know. Who did the art on the cover here? Is it Liefeld? Looks Liefeld-y. But everybody was copying Liefeld at the time too. So I don't know. Doesn't say on the inside. But Dan Abnett wrote this deal. And this went through 1 through 15. And actually, the rest of the series gets collected in here. So now you can read the entire ForceWorks right back to back like this. And I might do that. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I like having completion. I'm a completionist, so I love it. Beyond that, like, I mean, the Epic Collections are getting kind of interesting. I don't know that I like the modern Epic Collection thing overall. I kind of think that defeats the point of it. I wish DC would do something like this. If DC did something like where they started with Crisis and then collected everything up to like the New 52 or something like that, and then like had it all under one brand with like the same color coding and whatever. They kind of started it with Batman. Of course. They've got these books called The Dark Knight Detective. And they've got a companion volume called The Caped Crusader. And this one is Detective Comics. And The Caped Crusader is just Batman. And they go, looks like they're going all the way up to, what is it? Nightfall. But, you know, it's DC, so you never know if they're going to keep coming out with them or not. That's the problem. But these were cool, and they sold out. So you'd think they'd get their butts in gear and do what Marvel did with this stuff, but not so much. It's DC. And that is the announcement. So I just want to do some different content on the channel than just reviews. I want to just talk comics and just get this kind of rolling over on here because we're getting close to 1,000 subs, and we're going to get monetized, and that's pretty exciting on a second channel where I just talk about comics. So that's going to make some people mad out there. So I'll do things like this. I'm going to do like some overviews of what the Epic collections are and all that, just to like kind of diversify the content a little bit, I think. And then try to make things a little more exciting over here. I'd like to do things like ranking volumes too. I think that'd be fun. Like if we did a show like ranking, say, every Amazing Spider-Man Epic collection so far. All right, that might be too many. At least the first half of them or something. Or ranking every Daredevil omnibus or something. That'd be fun. I could do that. Those would make for some fun videos or streams. I think that's better for live streams because there's a little bit of interaction. Do you guys like that for live streams? Is that fun? I think it is. Hey, Grey Wolf Graphics, how you doing? But that's it for the Epic collections. With this announcement, the total Epic line will be up to 369 volumes, and this does not include the modern Epics. I don't even track them. I don't care about the modern Epics as of yet. I might later. And I own 305, as you can see, but 63 of those are to be released. So I've got all of them but one, and I'm kind of protesting on that one. If somebody wants to buy me the Carnage Epic collection for me, I will take it. Just so I don't have to, buy it. But yeah, that's my deal. Yeah, a lot of collections. So I got to get reading these and catching up. I took a few months off. I got a little burnt out, but I'm trying to catch back up again. Right now, I'm reading in terms of Epic collections. Where did it go? There it is. I'm in the middle of Thor Volume 9, Even an Immortal Can Die, which goes up to Thor number 280. So I've read all of Thor from the beginning up to number 280, or I'm on 61. But yeah, but after this, that's where that'll be. That's what I'm reading right now. Might read that Iron Man afterwards. I got a Daredevil one I want to read also, and trying to keep up and read at least one a week as they come out. But it's a lot of material. Just depends on if I have time. All right, everybody. I hope you had fun with this. Appreciate you being there. Hit the like and subscribe button, and tell your friends that you want this channel to get monetized, so I can have my comics channel monetized too. Want to get to that 1,000 subs? I would appreciate it a lot, and we'll see you guys soon. Oh, I should show my book. What am I doing? I'm not just a person who's a connoisseur, a comic enjoyer. I'm also a comic creator. Yeah, Marvel used to be great. All of this stuff is really good. There's not a lot of epics that I've read that were not good. I mean, there's a couple, but for the most part, I've just been astounded at how consistently solid this material was. Absolutely crazy. And a lot of it I hadn't read before. A lot of the Silver Surfer I never read before, and I'm really excited on that. Aurelian says I'm reading Fantastic Four Volume 1. Can only read, yeah, with the 60s ones, and even into the 70s here. What I tend to do is I tend to be reading 2 or 3 different books at once. So I'll read an issue of Thor in a day because I just can't do maybe 2 at most. Same thing with just because they are very heavy. They're so dialogue heavy and a little slow. And then I'll read another book along with that. So I'll just switch to that. So that way it doesn't get stale, because a lot of it is kind of formulaic back in the day too. They're great, don't get me wrong, but they are slow to read. So it works better for me to read them that way, to read 1 issue per day, and then also be reading something else at the same time. Another good thing to read at the same time would be Flying Sparks. This is my superhero series, my friends. And I'm actually going over the lettering of Volume 5 right now, just for typos. And then I'm actually going to compile this together probably this weekend into a digital file, and then send out my digital rewards to backers. Basically, this is a story about a superhero gal who starts dating a underworld mafia lord. He's got powers as well that he's hiding, and she doesn't realize it, and he doesn't realize it, and eventually they find out what each other are doing at their nighttime activities, and hijinks ensue. But by the end here, we have this is the last volume, a nice little team up where they have to save the world together. It builds very nicely into a storyline. I've been very meticulous in just making sure this all builds up into something like those old Tom DeFalco books used to do. You have your single issues that all have, it's got one plot line in it, but it builds into something else. I loved those books back in the day. and it's good stuff. So check this out. We have all 5 volumes available. If you missed it, here's volume 1, John Malin's cover. Volume 2 with Gary Shipman. 3 with Julio Abrera. 4 with James Pascoe, who did Azrael, Agent of the Bad. And, of course, volume 5 with Anthony Gonzalez-Clark, who is right here. So, Anthony, good work on that. I love this cover so much. I've got all my other comics here, like the Cosmic Warrior crosses over with Flying Sparks in this volume. And Dynamite Thor. I didn't want to put too many crossovers. I was going to put Dynamite Thor in 2, but I didn't. I thought about it. I was like, Cosmic Warrior is enough. Got my Fantasy Deus Volt and Overmind, my science fiction, which I'm actually working on the next volume of right now also. So please check these out. Support the channel. Here's the link, guys. And support our books. And I'm excited to get these to you. I'm excited to get these digital files out over the weekend. Good stuff. Do I get mine signed? Keep a look. I'll try my best. If not, just remind me. I'll send you another copy and I'll sign it. Thank you. You should sign mine. That's what you should do. And that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting the books. And I hope this was useful and interesting to you. We'll be back soon. I don't have any intros or outros on this channel. I don't have cider.